Welcome back to my nightmare. Oh my god, did I say that in the cotton candy video? I don't think I did. Welcome back to my nightmare. I'm so frustrated because I have torn my room apart, and you can't tell because you can't see the floor, but I have torn things off shelves. I've been looking everywhere. I want to talk to you today about some of the sewing books that are still on my shelf, and I cannot find my favorite one. I'm gonna be so mad. Like, if it's not in this room, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, it is literally my favorite book. I mean, to be fair, I'm a little bit beyond its skill set, so it's really, I just like to flip and look at the pictures sometimes. But I want to talk to you about Y2K fashion because I was there. And I feel like Instagram models are missing the DIY crimes that we did in the 2000s. There were many. Actually, I find some of these to be incredibly creative and still pretty awesome. There were a lot of problems with some of these books too, but a lot of these you can buy secondhand. Like, you can go on thrift books or eBay and find these, even though they're probably out of print because I've had them since early 2000s. But I just thought we could go through some of the books that I like because they might not be recent books. They might not be books that are the newest thing, but they're books that hold valuable information with regards to beginner sewing. I want to talk to you about one of my least favorite ones first. And I guess that's actually a lie because I do have my favorite one. This is the first one I ever purchased. I've had it the longest. I look at it constantly. The 90s really did influence my style because that's when I was younger. So I do still reference this, but my other favorite one is somehow missing, and I'm really upset about it. But I'll tell you about that in a minute. First, this is my least favorite. I still have it, and I want to preface this by saying there are some great ideas in this book, and it's kind of a classic, but there were also some things that I didn't quite love about this book. Namely, people buy me these books, and I've always been chunky. There's never been a time, my thinnest, I still basically had the same measurements. I just weighed less, which couldn't have possibly been healthy. You know, so this book specifically, I think, is not going to help anyone that is not very small. So the first book, this is not my favorite, but I've had it for a very long time, is Generation T by Megan Nicolay. I'm pretty sure that Megan says her name that way. I think I'm saying the name Megan right, Megan Nicolay. I've heard her interviewed. It was a long time ago. And I think that's how she prefers the name to be said. And there are some good basic ideas. Like, if you want to cut up a t-shirt, I mean, you also could find a lot of things that are similar to this on Pinterest, but I don't know about you. Sometimes I just prefer holding a book and referencing the book versus trying to look at something on my phone or my laptop. Sometimes I just feel like the picture is better. I can get the concept better when it's in a book. So if you would like to take a look at some 2000s, early 2000s fashion, you know, and you're a smaller person, like, because the models are all fairly small. I mean, I like to look at the pictures a little bit, but I've never made a single item out of this book. But if you are trying to bring back the Y2K fashion, this was a thing. Do I want armbands? I don't recommend that typically, but I also think that it's relevant for studying the fashion that happened, I would say, between, I think, when did I get this book? I got this book pretty early. 2006. I've had this book since it came out, so 2006. I think she even was on Threadbangers. I think that Threadbangers had her, so it was always just kind of a sore spot for me to, like, you know, I would get gifted these types of books because after this one was such a big deal, there were several other types of books like this, which is going to lead me to one of my favorites, but all of them were geared towards very small people, with the idea that I guess you could buy a bigger t-shirt if you were a bigger person, or if you're a bigger person, you wouldn't wear a halter top anyway. I don't know. It was just, the whole thing's a little bit, but I've kept it because, you know, it was given to me and it's a book. So maybe this will be the year that I say goodbye. I just like having fashion time capsules though. Somewhere I have a stack of spiral bound notebooks with outfits I cut out of Adelia's catalog when I was like 15. And I'm looking for them because I would love to just compare them to styles that are currently in, because they're back. And I'm like, it's like a time capsule. I didn't have one of those at high school to dig up on my 20-year high school reunion, which is coming up. My favorite, though, and the one that I'm mad I can't find, was the 99 Ways books. There's 99 ways to cut, sew, trim, and tie your t-shirt, which I own and is somewhere in this room. And there's 99 ways to cut, sew, and deck out your denim. The t-shirt book is by Justina and Faith Blakeney? And Anka, I can't say it. I'll put the link. I can't, I'm going to butcher that name. I'm going to summon a demon. You've seen what the room looks like. So yeah, I'm going to put the, so Anka and Ellen, Justina and Faith were the authors on the first book. And the second book is Justina, Faith, and Ellen. So, the second book, which is one of my absolute favorites, like I do look at it a lot for inspiration and ideas. Yeah, I know. Ever since then, like it's early 2000s, and I still look at this book all the time. Was the 99 Ways to Cut, Sew, and Deck Out Your Denim. So yeah, so the 99 Ways to Cut, Sew, Deck Out Your Denim. I do think a lot of those projects could be adapted for bigger bodies. I've made things out of those books. I've actually used them, which is probably why I can't find them. I probably was using them for something and now I've lost them. But the 99 Ways, and you can definitely, I actually Googled it because I made a mistake. I thought that book was by the Sisters of Harlem, but the Sisters of Harlem are different. So also their book isn't bad. I had it at one point. I did give it away. But their t-shirt book isn't bad either. That one was gifted to me, I think, by my ex, actually. So the Sisters of Harlem one was good, but, yeah, the 99 Ways to Cut, Sew, Deck Out Your Denim, I highly recommend it if you're beginning to sew and you're interested in making your jeans over. I definitely think you should check out Blueprint DIY. I watch Angelina's channel all the time. So, that's also a good one if you're looking for denim. But I'm talking specifically about books today, and that's a good book. I'm so mad that I can't hold it up because I have it, and they're small and little and spiral bound and easy to use. I like them. I like them a lot. The instructions are good. I like them. What next? So the next one's a little bit hard for me because it is one of my favorites. And it's one that I reference quite frequently when I'm sewing. And I think, if I remember correctly from what I saw on Instagram, the author kind of finds it cringy. Like, she didn't like what she wrote. So Rosie Martin did DIY Couture, Create Your Own Fashion Collection, right? This was the book. I fudging love this book. I don't think I've ever actually made anything out of this book. I just like to look at it. I have a ton of bookmarks, you can see, in the book. And I liked it because in the beginning of the book, it goes over basic techniques, and then it gives you these cute little collections of how they give you these 10 basic ideas, but then they show you different collections, so different themes on how the same shape could fit different styles, which I loved. I thought that was amazing. And because some of these are made with, they're not specifically upcycles, they're made with fabric. This was the first book, even though all the models are skinny, where I was like, oh, maybe I could make that. Now I do think I have a beef with this book, other than apparently Rosie doesn't like it anymore. And I think it's brilliant. I mean, I think I'm remembering that. I think it was in one of Rosie's Instagram captions, and I was like, oh, that's literally like my favorite sewing book. It's kind of like, you know, like if like, it's like when a celebrity says they don't like a movie they were in, and you're like, oh, that's my favorite movie. Thanks. Like, you know, like you couldn't just let me have the joy. You know, valid. I've done a lot of stuff I don't like, but also sad. Like, so yeah, so like, but the only thing is the way that she cuts out the fabric in this book is a little awkward because it's laid flat, which to me, having always been someone with limited space, I'm a fold in half person. You know, if I'm cutting something, I will fold it in half. I'm not going to lay it out and cut like one solid thing. I'm going to fold it in half. That's the only thing. I feel like it makes your life easier, but that's how I show you on my channel. I'm sure if Rosie had a channel, does Rosie have a channel? I'm sure that would be a valid way of sewing too. So it's not even really a big critique. Okay, I love it. If you like to sew, if you want to learn more about sewing, I really think I should make something. There's this like cute hoodie thing I keep wanting to make. It goes over sewing a circle skirt, sewing a waistband. Although I will say Marcy Harrell's circle skirt tutorial is amazing on Marcy's channel. Check it out. And let me find the... I love looking at the collections, though. I wish I could make a collection. Problem is I want all of the collections, not just one of them, and that's where we get lost. Okay, well, I can't find it. There's a cute hoodie. Like, the hoodie is the cutest thing. Like, and some of this is, again, kind of for skinny people. I'm not saying that to be mean, but they're smaller bodies. Like, the romper is a little questionable for someone that would require undergarments. But then again... we live in a new age where it's okay to show your sports bra or it's okay to have a cute bralette. We didn't have those back then. So maybe these are okay for larger size bodies. So I think this is the most useful one. The problem is, and actually there is more representation, I believe, in this book. Yeah, there's a bigger girl in here. I didn't enjoy this one as much. I don't reference it a lot. It was cool to look through when I got it. I enjoyed looking at it, but I don't look at it a lot. I think if you're starting out and you're looking for information, this is the better book. I think the author prefers this one. And it's interesting, but I think I really do prefer the other book. Again, I don't think I've ever made anything out of the second book. Moving on to some old ones, let's take a look at one of the most, I think this is one of the most problematic books that I own because it's very gendered, and I've said this before, and I don't really like, I feel like it's one of the things that I say very quickly and I don't go over, but I do identify as a non-binary person. I would prefer they them pronouns. So sometimes reading things from the 1960s where they start a book with like, you should put on your makeup and be in the right mindset for your husband, and you want to look like a pretty lady, and you're just like, oh, do I? Okay, there's an anecdote in the front that is definitely written from the times, like complimentary to, but also like just the wording's a little, like, I don't read, I look at the pictures, like, so it's one of the more, like, but it is a really good, so this, I got this, I like Kim Dave's channel. Kim Dave's channel has a lot of like how to make your own basic like bodice sloper. I think they're calling it something different now, aren't they? It's not a sloper, it's a block. She is a, like, Kim Dave, she is a great make your own pattern block, and that's what I was using. I did have to do a full bust adjustment because she is much smaller. So to add the room, I had to full bust adjustment. But once I did, I'm literally actually wearing a dress right now that I made with the block. But then I wanted to learn more about how to pattern make. So I got this based on someone's recommendation, and it is really useful. Like, I used this to draft a collar. I didn't like the collar once I was done with it, but the pattern worked. So if you have someone who's really into patterning and pattern making, it's a useful tool. It is dated. It is dated. It is dated. But, you know, thrift books, you're not going to be giving money to the original author, so could be useful. And another thing that I do love, and I love having it, and I reference it once in a while, not a lot, but once in a while, I have this. I believe I got it at a thrift store. So, I'm pretty sure my grandma didn't give me this one. I think I got it at a thrift store. And it was like $2. But there's all kinds of information about patterns, alterations, cutting, interfacing, types of fabric. Like, you have this special fabric, you've got like jersey and double knit, and what does that mean? So if you are learning to sew and you don't know some vocabulary, or if you are someone who has been sewing upcycles and you would like to learn more about what sewing, kind of the technical aspects of it, this is a decent resource. And I got mine at a thrift store, so I'm pretty sure that you can find this online. It's the Better Homes and Gardens Sewing Book from a long, long time ago. Oh, wow, we're almost done. So, this is one of my faves. I love it. So I've always wanted a Japanese sewing book because I feel like their aesthetic of the Japanese sewing books that I've seen is just so perfect. The styles were very simple and very elegant and very kind of loose in some of them, but charming and sustainable. That's the word I'm going for, sustainable, because I feel like when you have clothes that don't hug your body super tight, you'll wear them longer because you're not like, your body's not fluctuating in a weird place. So like when you have these linen shift dresses that kind of, you know, mold to you, and drape over you nicely. Like, I think that's a tailoring skill that is worth learning. And so I always wanted one, but I was always scared of getting one because the instructions weren't ever in English. So I wasn't quite sure I would be able to follow the patterns, and actually do any of the instructions. I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily read when I look at these books. I look at the pictures. It's kind of like IKEA instructions, and yes, sometimes I do have extra screws when I'm done putting dressers together. Okay, don't judge me. They haven't fallen over yet. But, you know, so I was always worried about like buying books that were in another language and not understanding the instructions. And they were kind of expensive. So, this one is She Wears the Pants. And it is by Yuko Takada. I'm sure I said that wrong. Because that was, yeah. And it's easy, sew it yourself fashion with an urban, edgy style. The pictures are beautiful. I've got it for a pair of like drop crotch, these ones. I want these pants so bad. I've never made them. Maybe my channel in 2020 should be me making something from all of these books. Starting with the Generation T book. So I mean, the pictures are just gorgeous and the instructions are in English, which is nice. It comes with patterns. Unfortunately, I do think that they are a little small, but to be honest, I've never actually fully taken them out. But when someone posted about it, I don't even remember who posted about it. Someone posted about it and was like, oh, but it's in English. And I was like, thank you, God. And also beautiful work, like beautiful, beautiful, beautiful book. I love this book. I look at it often, even though I've never made anything from inside of it. My approach to sewing is fuck around and find out, okay? Like, I don't make stuff. I just throw it and then hope it makes a shape. So we're down to the one I've had the longest. So I've had this I'm going to look at it. I'm going to see how long I've had it. Okay, not that little. I've had this since I was a freshman in high school. The copyright is 2001. And it is so silly. This is called Cheap Frills, Fabulous Facelifts for Your Clothes by Jennifer Knapp. Photography by David Magnuson. I don't know why I read it like that. That was mean. I'm sorry. I'm a little punchy today. I didn't sleep well. I think that this has a very retro 60s style, which was quite popular in the early 2000s. And I think that there are some easy DIYs in here that are, it's more about what I think of myself as. I don't usually consider myself a sewer or a sewist or a seamster. Like, I don't usually really associate myself with those. I feel like I'm more of an embellisher. Like, it's like with acting. It's like with writing. Like, no, I'm never going to be that person that comes up with an original idea, but I can build on the idea that exists. I am an embellisher. I make things bigger. I make things tackier. I make things gaudier. So this book is really a lot of nostalgia, but it does have like some 90s, like I look at this little illustration, like look at her. It's very gendered. I'm sorry. It's not gender neutral. It talks about being a girl a lot. It's very girly. Or like the illustrations are kind of like sweet. Like look at, that's kind of cute, you know? So some of it it's dated. There's some that's a bit dated. It's gendered and dated and but the ideas are not horrible ideas. And it's so old that you, again, probably have to buy it at a thrift store or on eBay. And it's, you know, it's got some ideas that are cute. Looking back on this, I might keep this one for nostalgia's sake. And I might be ready to be parted with it, actually. I'm like looking at it like, oh, it's cute though. Like, it's cute. But it's basic. But honestly, for like when I was 14 or 15, this was not horrible. But yes, those are the sewing books I have. I have more, but these are the ones that I actually actively look at sometimes, except for Generation T. But yeah, I just thought it would be fun to do a little walk down memory lane, talk about Y2K fashion. I mean, oh my God, the Cheap Thrills one's hysterical. I'm like it looks like if Adelia's, I think that's why I liked it. It looks like if Adelia's catalog was a sewing book. So anyway, if you pick up any of these books, let me know what you think of them. If you own them and you actually enjoyed them and I made fun of Generation T too many times, I'm sorry. It's valid to like what you like. But try the DIY couture one because that was really good. Like, that had useful information in it. And yes, just, you know, these are the books that I use. If you like this video, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing it with a friend, and maybe pick up a new hobby, learn how to knit, go outside, get a snack, get a drink, take a walk. Take care of yourself. Have a good time. I'll see you next time. Bye.